Welcome to Vibration Mastermind. I'm Mr. Ralph. Today, we're going to do something different. A short, science-friendly protocol you can use tonight to update a single, stubborn money belief that keeps showing up in your choices. If you've ever skipped a raise conversation, avoided an investment, or tightened the budget because a small inner voice said, "Don't risk it," this episode is for you. Your frequency decides your reality.
Quick warm-up. Imagine someone who always says, "I'm just not a numbers person." And because of that line, they never open a spreadsheet, never ask a question in a meeting, and they miss out on promotions. All of that is driven by one tiny belief that feels true. In 9 minutes today, I'll teach you a way to gently update that memory so the belief loses its grip, and you can try a different action tomorrow. Let's dive in.
Here's the promise and the roadmap. By the end of this episode, you'll understand, in plain language, what memory reconsolidation is and why it's uniquely suited to change emotional beliefs. You'll get the 4 key principles that make it work, a clear step-by-step protocol to follow, and a short guided micro-exercise you can do in around 9 minutes. This isn't magic, it's a brain process. You'll also get safety tips. Stop if you feel flooded, and choose a relatively low-intensity memory for your first try. Okay, what is it?
Memory reconsolidation is the brain's natural way to update emotional memories. When a memory is briefly reactivated, it becomes temporarily malleable. If in that window you present information that contradicts the old emotional story, not an argument, but a real, felt corrective experience, the brain can rewrite the emotional response. 4 simple principles make this reliable. Activate the trace without flooding. Create a prediction error. Introduce a corrective resource. Then allow rest for reconsolidation. Let me unpack each, slowly and simply. Principle 1. Activate the trace. You want to bring the specific memory or belief into awareness just enough to feel its emotional edge, not overwhelm. Principle 2. Prediction error. The brain updates when expectations don't match reality, so you need new information that actually surprises the emotional system. Principle 3. Introduce a corrective resource. This could be evidence, a bodily sensation, an empowering memory, or even a brief behavioral rehearsal that contradicts the old belief. Principle 4. Rest. After the mismatch, the brain needs a quiet period to rebuild the memory in a new way. And a critical safety note, avoid big trauma and stop if you feel flooded. This protocol is meant for low to moderate intensity beliefs you're ready to change.
Now, the step-by-step protocol. Step 1. Pick one very specific money belief and one linked memory. Example, instead of "I'm bad with money," choose "When I got scolded for spending as a teen, I learned that buying anything extra makes you irresponsible." Step 2. Rate the emotional intensity from 0 to 10. Choose a memory that sits around a 3 to 6 for your first attempt. Step 3. Briefly activate it. Name the memory aloud. Notice where you feel it in the body, and allow the associated emotion to surface for a breath or two. Do not rehash the whole story. Keep it short. Step 4. Introduce a contradictory resource or evidence that genuinely disrupts the belief. That could be a real counterexample you can imagine clearly, a calm, steady breath that signals safety, or a recent moment where you behaved differently. Step 5. Rest quietly for several minutes to let your brain reconsolidate the new pattern. Repeat later if needed.
Okay, now a guided micro-exercise. Find a quiet seat. Keep this light. If anything becomes intense, stop and breathe. Step A. Identify. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Bring to mind one specific money memory tied to a limiting belief. Name it in a short phrase. For example, "The time I was told I couldn't afford college." Say the phrase silently or aloud. Notice the emotion and where it sits in your body. Rate it 1 to 10. If it's above a 6, choose a different memory. Step B. Activate briefly. Gently bring the memory into awareness for just a breath or two. Observe the feeling without following the story. Notice one sensory detail, a tone of voice, a face, a smell. Hold it lightly. Step C. Introduce the new evidence. Now, summon a real counterexample, a moment you handled money differently, an instance where you earned or received support, a piece of factual evidence like a recent pay stub that shows growth, or even a physical signal of safety like steady breathing. Imagine that example clearly, let it be vivid, and notice how your body responds. If the old feeling slightly softens, you're creating prediction error. Step D. Rest. Keep the new image or sensation for a minute, then let both the old memory and the new resource fade into background. Sit quietly for 2 to 3 minutes, breathing easily. Allow your nervous system to settle. That rest is essential. It's when the brain reconsolidates.
A quick real-world example. For paycheck anxiety, you might recall the first time you were surprised by a low balance. Keep that memory small, rated a 5. Activate it briefly, then bring to mind a recent paycheck where you managed to cover essentials and still had leftover. Let that surprise register. That mismatch, the brain expected the old scarcity story, but found evidence of resilience, is the update. Tomorrow, when your balance looks smaller than expected, notice whether the old alarm triggers as strongly.
Other applications, negotiation fear. Recall a time you froze. Activate it lightly, then introduce a corrective. A conversation where you spoke calmly and gained a small win. Scarcity scripts. Bring up the line you tell yourself. Then imagine an actual recent instance where resources expanded, or you got unexpected help. The key is specific, short activations and real, believable contradictions. After the exercise, test small actions the next day. Ask for a small price adjustment. Open the bank app for 1 minute without catastrophizing, or send a short message about an opportunity. These micro-tests let you gather real-world data and reinforce the new pattern.
Quick recap. Pick one specific memory and keep intensity moderate. Briefly activate the trace. Introduce a genuine contradicting resource. Rest and let the brain reconsolidate. Then test a small behavior the next day. Safety reminder. If a memory feels traumatic or you become overwhelmed, stop and seek professional support. This tool is powerful for routine old beliefs, but it's not a substitute for therapy for deep trauma. If you try this tonight, I'd love to hear one small result. Leave a review on your podcast app describing the memory you chose and the tiny action you tested the next day. Your review helps others find the episode and gives you a place to turn your experience into accountability. Leave a review and tell us what changed, even just a little.
Final note, this is about steady rewiring, not instant perfection. Do the work consistently, pair it with practical money steps, and you'll start to notice small internal shifts that lead to different external choices. Think with intention. Move with purpose. Your frequency decides your reality.
Thanks for listening to Vibration Mastermind. Subscribe if you want more concise, science-aligned tools for shifting money mindset. Try the 9-minute reconsolidation exercise, leave a review about one small change, and I'll see you next episode. Clarity over chaos. Control over chance.